What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me. It's your girl G, and I'm here to give you guys some more genie gems regarding how to elevate in your life spiritually and holistically. Okay, listen, today, if you saw in the description box below by the title, people pleasing. Okay, this is something that I personally have overcome, but in my childhood I struggled with this heavy. It had me in a chokehold. I know I'm not the only one that has struggled with people pleasing. Like, if you don't know what a people pleaser is, it's basically putting yourself last and putting others first. It gives you the false identity that you need to meet the needs of others before you meet the needs of yourself, which is totally false, at least in my opinion. A lot of us think that we're just being nice when we're people pleasing, and they're two totally different things. Anything that causes you to compromise your self-worth, your boundaries, anything that drains you at the expense of somebody else gaining, you're people pleasing. 9 times out of 10, you're getting the shorter end of the stick when you think that you're gaining value. So this video will discuss ways to identify people pleasing, how to overcome that energy, and ways to transform your current energy if you are a current people pleaser, which 9 times out of 10, if you kind of got directed to this video, you have some tendencies. We all do, okay? But we're going to learn how to transform that all around, okay? So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's podcast. You would think that you know that you're people pleasing when you're a people pleaser. Like, you would think that you would be able to identify, like, yo, I'm putting this need above myself. Like, this is doing my life a disservice. Or, yo, you're valuing more from this situation than I am, and it's at my expense. Maybe I need to disconnect myself from this type of energy. But a lot of times we are blind to the very things that are poisoning us because we have been conditioned since childhood to think that this type of thing is normal. Like, a lot of our behaviors that we do in our adulthood that are bad for us, 9 times out of 10 have been taught since childhood, whether it's intentionally taught or consciously just taught. Like, you know, whether you knew that you were learning this or not, you were learning it. And some things that we pick up in our adulthoods are actually a disservice, like people pleasing. So you can't necessarily see, like, oh, or you can't identify, oh, this is people pleasing from the action because it's a familiar action. You're not necessarily as quick to pick up on the things that you're doing. So if you've experienced like your needs not being met in childhood, or pleasing everybody else around you versus pleasing yourself, especially since a child, 9 times out of 10 you've picked up the energy of people pleasing. So it is a hard thing to stop doing, because me personally, when I started to realize, like, yo, like, you're people pleasing, you're doing yourself a disservice, I kind of felt bad when it came time to put myself above others. Like, I felt bad, like, setting boundaries. I felt bad for putting people in their place who needed to be put in their place. And it sounds so crazy, because you would think that you would feel excited doing these type of things, setting boundaries and creating self-love and, you know, really standing up for yourself. But I felt bad, you know. And many reasons people please and put people above themselves. A lot of them can include fear of rejection, fear of commitment, fear of not being good enough. Like, your self-worth is tied into how well you give to others versus giving to yourself. Fear of confrontation. Some of us, we do not want to assert boundaries, and it's easier for us to just go with the flow and put ourselves last to avoid confrontation. Even if you feel like this is giving you the better end of the stick, or this is something that's more beneficial for your life, it's actually taking away value, because when you put yourself last, you give yourself a disservice of self-love, self-respect, being heard, being understood, and just operating in your authentic self. Ways that I have identified people pleasing, and even in my own life, is number 1, if you've ever experienced any emotional manipulation or emotional abuse, you might feel like it's your job to bend over backwards for people who aren't willing to even cross a stick for you. You know what I'm saying? It's like giving more than you're receiving. And you could feel like that because you, like, you know, you want to show or prove your worth to this person or this place or this organization, you know, to be accepted and liked and loved and heard and understood. understood and included. But you just giving all of you does not equal that that person, place, thing, organization is going to love you as deep as you deserve, or they're going to pour back into you as much as you deserve. This can be in a relationship, in a job, in a friendship, whatever the case may be. If something is not pouring back into you as you're pouring into it, baby, you're draining yourself. Now, in my people-pleasing era, I felt the need to go above and beyond for said individuals, organizations, places, peoples, things, whatever, because I felt like I wanted to be included. I had a fear of abandonment. I had a fear of not being good enough. My self-worth was tied heavily into how people felt about me. And that had to change, because people are going to feel the way they feel about you, whether you're doing for them or not, whether you're giving to them or not. And it should not cost your self-worth, your self-respect, like your energy, in order for somebody to vibe with you. I feel like if a connection is genuine, if a person is for you, a place or organization is for you, it is going to mesh without you having to bend over backwards for that person, because now you're constantly pouring into something that's not pouring back. It's unequally yoked, and eventually one of the other people, places, things is going to experience a burnout, and that's going to cause more friction in the end. So it's kind of bad, especially if you don't like confrontation, like myself. Really focus on your self-worth and understanding that you yourself, by yourself, you deserve love, you deserve respect, you deserve to be poured into as equally as you give. You deserve love as deep as you love yourself. And I feel like that's where a lot of people pleasers, hit a brick wall, because we feel like if we aren't doing for others, then we don't truly love them, or if we aren't putting people above us, that makes us a bad person. Making choices that are best for you, though they may not feel good at first, doing what's best for you is always going to benefit you in the end. You don't need to worry about how you're going to look to anybody, how you're going to make anybody else feel, like all of these external validations. What matters is how you feel about you in the process. How do you pour into you? How are you respecting yourself? How are you loving yourself? Are you even listening to yourself? And I know it sounds bad, because it's like, oh my gosh, you're telling me I need to be selfish, but that's kind of how it is. You need to be selfish with your energy, with your love, with your finances, with your energy, like twice. Like it's okay, because there are people in this earth that will take from you, and they have no intentions in giving back. And there's no reason for feeling bad, or like, dang, like there's no reason for beating yourself up when we see the red flags. Okay, so it starts with respecting ourselves, respecting our boundaries, and speaking up for ourselves and being there for ourselves. Like the foundation of self-love is you. It's like self. The foundation for life, a healthy relationship, a healthy job, everything starts with you. The more you pour into you, the more that you can be there for others. The more that you're pouring into others and not into yourself, the more you can't be there for you. So it's like you choose who's more important, you or them. I'm choosing me. Like facts, it's not your job to pour into capable adults, just like it's not everybody else's job to pour into you. People need to learn how to fill their own cup until it runneth over. So don't be so dependent on others' opinions and validations and all of their energy to how you feel about yourself. Start pouring into yourself as a whole human being, as a whole human being and as a soul, and learn that self-love and self-validation is gonna come with time and practice. Like you're not going to stop people pleasing immediately, because again, this is a routine, this is a characteristic that has been with you for a while. So it's gonna feel very abnormal when you start putting yourself first. Like I'm one, like when I cut certain people out of my life and certain things, like I felt kind of lonely. Like I was just like, dang, did I go too far? Maybe I am. What's going on? But you're doing yourself a service when you say no. Okay, a lot of people are afraid to say no, but no is one of the biggest boundaries you can create for yourself. Like, can we go out? I'm ready to. No. Hey, can I do that? No. It's like you get to no. Okay, no. Say it with me. No. let it roll off your tongue.
I spelled Puerto Rican in this. Rican.
You, because nobody else is obligated, and 9 times out of 10, nobody else is going to stand up for you more than you can stand up for you. So, start enforcing boundaries in your life. Start saying no. Stop apologizing so much. So many of us apologize for things that we don't even realize we're apologizing for. And I have got into a habit of, like, when somebody's like, oh, I'm sorry, and they haven't done anything wrong, I'm like, you're forgiven. Like, forgive yourself. You didn't do anything wrong. Like, start treating saying no like a swear jar, and over apologizing. Treat that like a swear jar too, because we apologize so much for things that we have no even reason to be sorry for. Like, sometimes people say I'm sorry like they're ending a sentence, so start being more aware of yourself and your energy and how you just operate and show up for yourself in this world. Okay, know that you deserve to love and to be loved, and the more that you love yourself, the more that you are going to attract people who love you for you as well. Because when you love on yourself, when you acknowledge yourself, when you hear yourself, when you stand up for yourself, that causes a great relationship between you and self. You can listen to yourself more. You can hear your heart. You can hear your intuition. You can hear your discernment. And then when you show up in other people's lives, you can discern, oh, this person is using me versus this person I should show up for because they show up for me. You have a self-revelation regarding who should be around you and who needs to be removed. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Okay, the more that you heal those childhood wounds, and the more that you realize how you're showing up for yourself in this world, the more that you're able to make space for growth. And the more that you grow, the more that you don't have to repeat certain lessons, because it's like we have to acknowledge who we are. We have to acknowledge our characteristics. We have to acknowledge the part we play in this world. And the more that you can acknowledge those levels and areas of growth, the more that you can actually grow into a more productive, healthy, communicative human being. And the more that you can show up for yourself, which hence causes abundance to flow in your life in all areas, because now you're operating in your true authentic self. Imagine the times like where you had to show up as somebody other than who you were. Like, do you remember that feeling? You remember how your body reacted? You remember how you spoke to yourself? You just remember, how you felt. And a lot of us don't want to feel that way ever again. So you get to a place where you start making lifestyle changes. You start changing the way you talk, changing the way you show up for yourself, changing the way that you speak up for yourself. And then you start making those changes, and you start seeing those changes in your outer world. You used to make the same changes over and over, and you kept getting the same results. Soon you're going to realize, oh, okay, I stepped out of this barrier and I stepped into a new barrier. And now I'm seeing different results from myself and from other people. Like, if you're like me, bro, I used to literally criticize myself. Like, my self-talk was so horrible. Like, I just genuinely was like mean as heck to myself. And I caused myself to be more there for others than I was there for myself, which I did myself a disservice. So work on forgiving yourself in the transition and in the journey as you grow and realize, dang, I was letting certain things slide that definitely was not worthy of letting slide. Like, I let people get off on me more than they needed to. And you live and you learn and you do better, because again, you know better. So as you let go of those toxic cycles, those toxic ways, and start recovering who you are, I like that, the more that you're able to remove the people that no longer serve you. It's hard to cut people out of your life that have been serving, a toxic void in your life, or that has just been there for you. These can be friends, family members, like whatever the case may be. It's hard when you have to cut people out of your life that you have love for, or that you are attached to, when you have soul ties, no matter the relationship. But as you grow and as you learn to love self and to respect self, the more you realize that that energy does not deserve the pureness of your aura. They don't deserve to be around you. They don't deserve to interact with you, because you deserve better. Okay, it's okay to know that you deserve better, and it's okay to give yourself better, because you deserve love and goodness and respect yourself. Again. So it's definitely levels to this journey. It's levels to self-growth, self-mastery. but it all comes, you know, with growth, time, patience, and understanding. And it's like you have to be vulnerable with yourself. A lot of us, we aren't vulnerable with ourselves. Like in order for me to be vulnerable here, I had to first be vulnerable with myself. And I literally would be alone in the room and I wouldn't even let myself cry because I felt like, you know, you have to have it all together. You have to. No, like it's okay. Like some of us just need to hug ourselves, because when you're hugging yourself right now in this sense, you're hugging your inner child, you're hugging your future self. It's like you're hugging so many versions of yourself, and it's like so healing. So allow yourself to go through the motions, because your inner child, your present self, and your future self are all present at this one time. Your inner child, the one who overgave and couldn't say no or couldn't stand up for themselves, you know, they now have a voice. They now have an opportunity to show up as their authentic, true self and be protected at that. A lot of us, we couldn't show up for ourselves because we didn't feel safe enough to. But just know that you are divinely protected. God, angels, and everything in between has your back. You have the ability to show up for yourself in the purest, most authentic way as possible, and know that God and your community has your back. I love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of today's podcast. If something in today's video gave you hope, encouragement, or if there's something that you want to add to today's topic, be sure to comment down below. Again, hit me up on my Instagram and you can ask me questions, topics, anything the case may be that you want to hear mentioned on the channel. But if this is where we part ways, thank you so much for your beautiful energy. I love you and have a great day. Bye.